dong, the boxing's dead. The boxing of the boxing's dead. Ding dong, the boxing of boxing's dead. You could say that. And watching that this weekend, some people might be saying that because it's all about the Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga fight. It's Mexico versus Puerto Rico, folks. Yeah, it's the business of boxing really impinging on the boxing of boxing. Such as it was. Ooh, blimey. Not quite sure where that's been. To sanitize that later on. Anyway, this is, as you know, law, yes, live audio wrestling. Not live audio boxing, although this is lab on law. Yes, I'm doing this as Steve Swift for Steve Swift's Rambling Reviews. It's the boxing of boxing today. Oh, boxing of boxing, yes. And I'm working with the tidster. You're a tidster, that's right. And Uncle Brady, who recently celebrated his 86th birthday. Congratulations and well done, Uncle Brady. Uncle Brady. So, not really, no, it was his birthday, but I think he was a very youthful 62. No, I'm sure he wasn't. Anyway, let's talk about this here boxing thing, because people are saying that one of the worst fights they've ever seen, and don't worry, I'll be getting onto the Canelo fight in a bit. One of the worst fights they've ever seen is Erislandy Lara versus Danny Garcia. Erislandy Lara versus Danny Garcia. Yes. Yes. So the thing about Danny Garcia is, well, first of all, Lara is a champion. And this is for Lara's, I think it's super middleweight belt, isn't it? So Danny Garcia is not a very consistent fighter. He hasn't fought very much. Twice in the last 4 years is what I think I heard. I've not checked it because, as you know, I can't be bothered. No. So I'm very busy. I mean, people are wanting me all the time. Debt collectors mainly, but there you go. So he fought twice in the last 4 years. Even if he fought 4 times in the last 2 years, I'm not quite sure that makes you or qualifies you on your comeback fight after quite some time outside of the ring as the number one contender for a title. Does it? Does it? Well, I've just started boxing and I've only been boxing for about 2 weeks. You're the number one contender, son. Why is that? I just decided it. I mean, does it? What's the... I mean, show your workings. What's the reasons? Anyway, he is the number one contender, or he was, although I'm not quite sure he will even be a wrestler, a boxer, or even a boxer after this. The thing about this fight was that even in the first round, we had boos. Well, actually, if you had boos, it might make the fight go a bit better. But no, there was boo, because there was no engagement. Get this stat. This is on DAZN, and I'm sure they weren't happy with this. In the second round, Danny Garcia, I think I've got this right, I hope I have, threw no punches whatsoever. Just let that sink in. It's a title fight, even if it's not. No punches whatsoever. What? In the whole fight, and it went 9 rounds, in the whole fight, Lara threw 63 punches. Danny Garcia threw 33. And the whole thing about this is that Lara is 41. He's one of the oldest champions we've got in boxing, and he's a different fighter to the fighter he used to be. And what he's done is he has changed the way he fights. And that's what boxers who are really good do. And he's durable, and he's long-standing, and it's I think his second defence of his title. And he's become more of a range radar fighter. So What he will do is, his footwork's not great, but what he will do is he manages, he's got that range radar. So he stays out of range and his opponent won't be able to find his chin or find his midsection, won't be able to lay one on him. That's the quality of what he's doing. That's what he does. So to make it quite an exciting fight or even an interesting fight, you're going to need to be fighting someone who wants to throw those punches, who wants to get there, because it takes two to tango, don't it? And you need someone who is trying to get at you so you can show just how you can avoid those. Danny Garcia didn't want to do that, it seemed to me, and he didn't want to fire very many punches. He had some success, but every time he was hitting Lara was coming back with a punch immediately. So I think Danny Garcia was thinking, I'm not quite sure about this, don't quite know. So you've got one person trying to evade the punches that aren't actually coming to him anyway. That's how you get 63 and 33, folks. It ended in an extraordinary way with Lara in that 9th round, and I think at the end of the 8th as well, if I remember rightly, getting a couple of punches in. Not a flurry. We're not talking about 620 unanswered punches. We're not talking about that. What we're talking about is a couple of punches, it seemed to me. 4 at most. And in the 9th round, at the end of the 9th round, he snuck in a couple. They landed. And Garcia took the knee. He was saved by the bell. He went over, and I think it's his father who's in his corner, isn't it? And the referee was told, that's it. He asked Danny Garcia if you wanted to continue, and he said, no, I don't really. He didn't say it like that. No, I don't really. No, don't really. No, didn't say it like that. But he quit on his stool. I mean, he said afterwards, I had a lot of ring rust. Well, I'm sorry. If you've got that much ring rust, you're falling to pieces, mate. I mean, it looked to me like he didn't want to be there, to be honest. And that's a sad situation. Of course it is. And we have to always be cognizant of the rigours and the troubles in boxing and all of the possibilities in boxing and all that. That cow lick I've got here. That's what they call it, isn't it? A cow lick. They still call it that. You know, a big cascade of hair like that comes over when you're losing your hair. A cow lick. That's the cow lick the wrong way. It is, you know. Do they still call it a cow lick? Do tell me in the comments, folks. Is it still a cow lick? Is it? Is it still a lick of a cow? A lick of a cow? A cow? I'm having my beard cut tomorrow, by the way. So there will be tomorrow a little bit more laughing cavalier action. At the moment, it's looking a little bit too large. I'm having a bit of trouble eating. I suppose I could get the scissors on it, but here's the rejoinder that you'll all be used to. I can't be bothered. So, that was the Danny Garcia and Erislandy Lara boxing match, which was, I mean, it was said by a few people to be the worst match they'd ever seen. You know, I like a chess match, but actually people are going to have to move the pieces for things to continue. You can't just sit there for an hour and say, I was going to move my pawn, but I'm not quite sure. Is it dinner time yet? It's just ridiculous. So it wasn't good. And that didn't set up the main event that well either. Because the thing is, and we have to be cognizant of the rigours of boxing and how you could lose your livelihood, your health, and your life even in the ring. So let me add that for a start. I just want to say that because it's very important to do that. But I have to ask, with the Canelo versus Edgar Berlanga fight, did it really matter? I'm going to say no. And the reason why it didn't matter is because Turki Al Sheikh, who of course is putting together the fights for Riyadh season in Saudi Arabia. It's Saudi Arabia, isn't it? This fight was in Las Vegas, so it wasn't one of his. Even he, I say even he, because usually he doesn't, I don't think he generally involves himself in this kind of shenanigan, on social media said, was it on social media? I think it was. He ended his quote with, "I'm not the one who's avoiding Terence Crawford and David Benavidez." So you see, you've not only got that, I mean, you've got, "I won't fight William Skull, and I don't mind if the IBF title goes." Now, that may be because there's not much De Niro in it, is there? If you're doing that. But if you're then saying, "I don't want to fight that Benavidez either. I don't want to fight him." Why not? He's got a Videz in his name. I'm not fighting anybody with a Videz in his name. I don't like that, what do you call it, Steve Swift Videz either. Yeah, him. I'm not fighting him either. Come on, Steve Swift Videz. I don't like it. I won't fight a David. I won't fight a David, actually. I'll fight an Edgar. I don't like that name. It's bad luck, that David name. Bad luck. So it does seem as though, when you start saying, "I'm not fighting this person, I will not handpick my opponent," but look, that Berlanga looks all right, doesn't he? Well, he's not as powerful or dangerous as David Benavidez. I refer you to my previous comment. I think that when you're saying that, people start to get a bit naughty, don't they? And so they're throwing Terence Crawford's name into the mix. Bud Crawford has come into the mix fairly recently. So, of course, Canelo's not going to fight him, is he? Of course he's not. And Turki Al-Sheikh was able to say, "I'm not the one who's avoiding." I mean, really? Extraordinary. So, there's already, the guilt is well and truly off the gingerbread. If you wanted this fight, and people are saying, "Oh, it might affect his pay-per-view buys." Really? When you want him to fight David Benavidez and he's fighting Edgar Berlanga? Really? Yeah. That's like saying, "Well, what I'll do is, I'll go to see Formula One, and then I won't be too bothered if they turn up in go-karts." I'm not attacking Edgar Berlanga here, but David Benavidez was the main event, and or the main, really, opponent that people wanted, and that's not happened. So Edgar Berlanga tried hard. I've got some notes here, so I might be looking down. I want to make sure it works for me, and for you too, dear watchers. Dear watchers. Dear. Shouldn't be here. That's what you're thinking. I thought that when I was watching this fight and the previous fight. So he looked worried to begin with, Edgar Berlanga. He looked like he thought, "Ooh, I didn't think I was going to be fighting Canelo Alvarez. I thought I was going to be fighting Pete Alvarez, his brother, who's never boxed in his life before." No, but he did look a little bit worried about the task. And the thing about this fight was that Canelo he didn't look this way against Ryder, against John Ryder. He looked a little bit flat-footed in that bout. And I think that the Bivol loss has taken a lot out of him. And I thought, well, looks like this is it, really. Looks like we're moving down a bit. And he looked a bit nastier here. He punched on the break at one point, and the referee had to, he was about to tell Edgar Berlanga not to use the head. It was Harvey Dock, great referee, who took a tumble, actually, in the second round. He did. Got up quickly, up at 2, as the commentary team said. He was about to tell Edgar Berlanga not to stick the head in. And, look at that fly. Saucy fly. Saucy. And trying to get in on the act. Trying to get in on the act. It's like a vent act. Stephen Swift and his tame fly. I don't think it's going to fill out any arenas, that. I'm not sure. Anyway, Stephen Swift and his tame fly. Stephen Swift and his tame fly. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. He was going to tell Berlanga not to stick the head in when Canelo just punched him on the break. He was quite spiteful. He did have a lot more get up and go. Oh, dear, there's some detritus in my ear hole there. Blimey, look at that. It's a funny colour, isn't it? It's strange. Let's try and get that. Hello? Oh, blimey. Oh, blimey. I need to regulate that ear now, like I'm underwater. I feel like Jack Lemmon in The Odd Couple. And, Jack Lemmon and Walter Meadow. It's not a good impression. I'm aware of that, but it's all my own. So, we've got Berlanga. They're saying he needs some footwork to try and get. I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of footwork. You could be on. You could be in a little car, and Canelo would still beat you because he's tough. They said he doesn't really want to bring Canelo to him, and that's what he's trying to do. Yeah. Sergio Mora was also saying in the third round, we're not going to win the early rounds with Canelo, are you? You want to keep going and then try and get something in the later rounds. Blimey, you've got to get through those early rounds first. That's the thing. So they said that Berlanga needed to jab more. He didn't jab very much at all. And then in the third, he was put down with I think it was a right hook. Was it a right? I think it was a right. I think I've said a left in the past, and I think people have on my podcast, and I think people have said, no, it's a right. I think it was a right. And he seemed a bit upset that, oh, damn, I got put down. He was up fairly quickly. I mean, he fought back a bit, but then got caught with a right again. Canelo was showing a bit more aggression. He did get through a bit, Berlanga, but not really very much. Canelo was too fast for him. I mean, Canelo kept him busy, not being able to think about anything. He wasn't able to think. I mean, everybody's got a plan until they're smacked in the face, And Berlanga was at it, but not to any good effect, really. Canelo was even able to sort of cruise through the seventh, really. And at one point, Berlanga swung, missed, and fell. He didn't get up quickly, I'll tell you that, folks. That's what the commentary did. Not up quickly. No, he looked like he was really milking it. You're not going to get a standing 8 count. Harvey's not going to give you a standing 8 count. I have to say that. I mean, Berlanga did try and... Because what you need to do with Canelo is, right from the beginning, you need to hustle him. You need to go searching for him. You need to be in control of him. You need to make him think, I'm not going to get my own way. Because he's a big dude, Canelo. And I don't think Berlanga did that early enough. He tried to do it around the 8th round. And it was too late then. And he was also shipping a lot of punishment because, Canelo likes to hit you on the arm. So you won't be able to lift that arm eventually. Now, Berlanga's team had said, we're ready for that. I don't know. I really don't know. And it looked like by the 9th that Berlanga was really ready for that role of, I'm taking a lot of punishment. I'm just settling into this. I mean, he made it through to the end, and that's something, isn't it? And really, even in the late rounds, they were really, Canelo looked aggressive, and he won wide on the card. You don't need me to, he was going to win. He's not going to. I mean, I thought there's always a scintilla, or even a flotilla of feelings that in the back of my mind that maybe there'll be an upset, but generally, I think people thought, why isn't it David Benavidez? Or why isn't it Bud Crawford? And that will mean that the business of boxing has affected the boxing of boxing again. Because no matter whether you put him down in the first round and knocked him out in the third, and it looked fabulous, people would still be saying, why is he fighting him? And if you carry on like this, then you micturate on your own legacy, don't you? And that is the problem for Canelo. He needs a defining fight. And after all the things he's done, because of the choices he's made recently, he needs a defining fight. How do you get into that position? You struggle at the business of boxing. And that was what everybody was thinking in this fight. Ta-ta.
SportCards.com, the best in Canada. NHL, NBA, NFL, MLB, Pokemon, UFC, WWE. TotalSportCards.com, the hobby's best friends. That's TotalSportCards.com.
RockSolidFanClub.ca gives you full access to Canada's leader in professional wrestling, featuring legends like Mick Foley, modern megastars such as Cody Deaner, and future sensations like Tyler Turva. RockSolidFanClub.ca offers exclusive series, podcasts, live streams, specials, and full events, all for less than $9 a month. Sign up today at RockSolidFanClub.ca, where real fans get it.